Hello, and what is going on, everybody? It is Master of the TDS, and I am joined by my lovely wife,
WritingRaven.
And we're back for another episode of Psycho-Synopsis.
Finally.
The segment where we summarize all the Psycho for you. Just a scattering of topics throughout the week, all summarized into a neat little package for you to enjoy and consume at your leisure.
You're welcome.
We did not get out a video last week.
Which we are sorry for.
We had some things that we had to get done, and then we went to record Wednesday and didn't get that one out either, but this week we will be, so stay tuned for that.
Well, to be fair, we couldn't record Wednesday because our brains were fried.
It's a different reason. Regardless, we have a couple topics to discuss today, so without further ado...
Let us bring in our first client, the new Transformers movie.
Black Rhinox Matter.
Whee!
Director Stephen Caple Jr. has assured those concerned with Transformers Rise of the Beast human element that the Maximal's upcoming cinematic debut will tell a story about Black and Latin culture.
What the hell does that have to do with robotic animals?
It's a Transformers movie.
What does any of that have to do with giant robots fighting each other?
Yeah, nothing. Nothing. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. And it's ridiculous that this is a thing. I'm not surprised, because it seems like this is what everybody likes to do when it comes to these virtue signaling ideals.
Mm-hmm.
But, really? You're making a movie about giant robots who fight each other. Yes, there's a human element. And yes, it can work well.
But the focus is mainly on the giant living robots that fight each other.
Yeah, and saying that, this is going to be a story about Black and Latin culture, that's not a marketing point.
No.
You people don't seem to understand that when you do this, you don't get more people to come in. You get less people to come in. Far
less. Every time.
But anyways, I'm not surprised to see this, but people keep thinking that they can market these movies on, it's got representation, it's got whatever. Your movies don't do well when you do that. No single movie has done well when you've done that. Except for Black Panther, which, to be fair, was for a lot of different reasons and happened to be lightning in a bottle.
The original Black Panther was a good movie.
It was an okay movie. It wasn't terrible, but it was also the time it was sent out and the stuff going on around that time.
But also the fact that it had a cohesive story and plot.
Yes, but nobody went to go see it just because of marketing. Yes, you tried to shame people, whatever, and maybe it did work for some people, but this is not going to get more people to come watch your movie about giant robots smashing into each other and blowing things up.
Seriously, no.
Because when I want to see a Transformers movie, I want to see robots fighting and blowing things up. I don't care about the human element as much. Bumblebee was a great movie. My wife has not seen Bumblebee.
Not yet.
But Bumblebee was done well. It had a human element and a robot element, and it worked really well. Why can't we get more of that? Don't market like this. It's stupid. And if you are going to do this, you shouldn't be allowed to work. That's what I think. These people should not be allowed to be in charge of IPs like this. That doesn't mean they can't have jobs, but if they're going to make statements like this and alienate the audiences, which is what they're doing with these statements, they shouldn't be allowed to continue making these products.
I agree, but we all know they're not going to do that.
I'm hoping eventually we'll get there.
Eventually. Let's move on. And next up we have The Witcher.
I don't need to use my elixirs to see how bad your show is.
He's not wrong.
In the wake of the former series star Henry Cavill's exit from the Netflix series, The Witcher's showrunner Lauren Histridge has set out to try and assure audiences that the continued adventures of Geralt are indeed worth tuning in for.
No, they're not, because they're not the adventures of Geralt anymore.
Now, I have not seen The Witcher. My wife has.
Mm-hmm.
I have read all the books, though.
He has.
And I like the books. I haven't played the games. I've seen footage from the games. Looks really good. Looks like they did a good job. From what I've heard about this show is it doesn't adhere to the books, and so it didn't interest me. But you had a star, you had a name attached to this. And the fact is, he didn't leave because he decided to do Superman or whatever. We all know the reason he decided to leave.
It was because you guys destroyed something that he loved. It was literally his dream role. His dream to play Geralt of Rivia, and you destroyed him.
And now you're out there saying, well, people liked it and whatever. Evidently not enough. The fact is you keep coming out with statements like, we hope people tune in so we can get us... Basically saying things that make it very clear that you're not guaranteed to have a good next season unless this next one does well. And a lot of people are going to be against you and boycott what you're doing because of how you treated Henry Cavill and how you treated the series and the source material.
Oh, yes.
And I've heard from Lauren Histridge before. I've seen interactions with people had with her. She seems like a decent person. However, her idea that they need representation in movies is flawed. It's completely incorrect. You don't need representation in movies and TV shows. It is a nice thing to put in organically, but when you force those things to the surface at the detriment of the product, and then you have people on the team who regularly make fun of the source material, you should not be surprised that when the last reason people were actually watching this show disappears, that the audience will as well. And let's be fair, it seems like she knows that.
Yeah, with her whole idea for representation, I guarantee you she's going to be using the Rat story arc when Siri joins the gang. Because it was there, and she's totally going to monopolize on it.
Yeah, and it was hinted at, and it was very not a huge thing, and I guarantee they're going to make it into one, and it's probably going to turn a lot of people off to the show.
And it wasn't even that major a point of the story. It was really just Siri getting manipulated into it.
Regardless, I just think the fact that these people continue to be handed franchise after franchise and think that they can do whatever they want with them, and then they make them into messes, and then they go, well, it's the fans' fault. At a certain point, you have to ask the important question. Is it the fans, or is it just you?
It's them, but they can't admit it. They're always in denial.
Yeah, they will never admit it, and that's the funniest part, is because these people don't understand that they can scream and yell and shout. You can call us names as much as you want. You can label us every name in the book. It's not going to actually make us go see your stuff. And so maybe instead of listening to what you think is correct, you should listen to what the fans think is correct, because the fans are the fan base, hence the term fans. And I'm not talking about 3 profiles with Geralt or Yennefer as their profile picture on Twitter who post about it nonstop and then get mad at anybody who doesn't agree with them.
Your lead role literally was one of the fans. You literally had someone who knew the books and the games inside and out, and instead of consulting with him like you should have, you did whatever the hell you wanted, and it's really no wonder that he left. So, good luck to you. You guys are gonna not see a season 4.
And if you do see a season 4, it'll be at a much, much, much reduced viewership, because there's going to be very few people who are willing to come back without Henry Cavill there, and very few people are going to come back to watch your product, especially if you botch it in this 3rd season, which it sounds like the fact that you're coming out and doing damage control before it even starts just goes to show me that, yeah, it's going to be crap.
Oh, yes.
Good luck. You'll need it.
Moving on. And next up we have Jenna Ortega.
And our show has superpowers and, outcasts and evil ghost pilgrims. So they're 2 very different people on Wednesdays, I think. Jenna Ortega.
That was a no-brainer. I would be happy to remove yours.
Jenna Ortega never asked Christina Ricci for advice on how to portray Wednesday Addams, and when she was on set with her, never spoke Wednesday to her even once.
Why?
So, as you guys know, we are reviewing the Wednesday series. We actually have 2 episodes of it up on the channel so far. We're going to get the other ones out at some point. We just have been... finding time is the difficult part.
And also needing time for our brains to heal after every episode.
Yeah, so look, some people like the show, and that's fine. You're allowed to like it. But the fact that Christina Ricci, the original Wednesday, was on set with her, and she never even thought to ask her. Now, her reasoning is because she didn't want to bring something that was 30 years old, and she didn't want to, copy her.
But in a way she does. She captures a lot of Christina Ricci's mannerisms in her portrayal of Wednesday. And don't get us wrong, Jenna does play a very good Wednesday, but the writing for the show sucks.
Yeah, the writing for the show is not that good. There's a lot of it that could be cut out. And again, we'll discuss it more in depth in our reviews, which you can check out. There's 2 up on the channel, as I said, and there should be more coming soon. But the fact that you were on set with someone who you say is an inspiration for you and was someone who was just like you were so happy to have around, and you never once even asked her about any tips to play Wednesday, I get it. Maybe you were trying not to be, like, steal her thunder, but come on, really?
I mean, earlier, before the show even came out, she said that she knew it was a very big role to fill after Christina Ricci portrayed the character. Like, she knew she was going to have a hard time winning people over with her portrayal of Wednesday, because she was a little intimidated by Christina's performance.
And the fact that she's fixating on superpowers and outcast evil ghost pilgrims when literally the show has werewolves and gorgons and sirens and vampires, which, again, were not an established part of the Addams Family universe. Now, some people like it, and that's fine, as I said. But that's not what I would be focusing on.
I would be focusing on the family, not just one of the kids.
They actually mentioned in the article that if they get a season 2, they want to focus and bring the family in into more episodes. And honestly, I don't want to see that because the biggest crime they did here is what they did to Pugsley.
Yeah. They made Pugsley an absolute wimp and pansy.
They made him into, like, Pugsley was a rival of Wednesday. They played together. They did crazy things together.
They tortured each other for fun. Those were literally their games.
But apparently now he's just a pushover and can't survive without Wednesday and is terrible and is weak and she has to do everything for him.
And he flinches when birds hit the windshield of the car, when he should be smiling at their deaths!
There, honey. But anyways, before we lose any more of our brains, we're gonna move on.
Yeah. And next we have someone who sincerely needs therapy, and her name is Jennifer Lawrence.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I cannot do that.
Please do, though.
Jennifer Lawrence is receiving some serious heat from movie fans after falsely claiming that Hollywood did not have a female lead action movie until 2012's The Hunger Games. Now, she also came out and said basically how she was told that males can't relate to female heroes, but females can relate to male and female heroes. You do realize that makes no sense, right?
She doesn't.
And then she came out and it's like, oops, I didn't mean that.
Mm-hmm.
You do realize that if you want people to like you, what you should have done was come out and basically owned it. Said, yeah, that was hilarious. I can't believe I slipped up and said that. That was really dumb of me. I didn't mean it that way.
But thanks for the list of movies I can watch.
Something like that. But these Hollywood celebrities are so
dumb
that they don't realize just how disconnected they are. And they believe that everybody's just going to go around with it. This is not an uncommon thing. Every Disney movie that has a LGBTQ component is the first to do this and the first to do that. And it's not. It never has been.
No.
The fact that this is just like, and people were like trying to defend her, and most people were not for her doing this. They were like, what the heck are you doing?
Like, most people were laughing at her. I was one of them.
It's ridiculous that this is how, it's not just her, this is how people in Hollywood actually think.
Which is really sad. It just shows how low their IQ is.
That, and also it just goes to show that they really don't understand what they're trying, the audience they're appealing to, and they continue to push these, oh, it's the first this and the first that and the first this and it's the strong female this, and you notice that you get diminishing returns. Oh, but people don't go to the movies as much now. I wonder why. COVID? Oh, maybe not. Maybe it's for other reasons too. Maybe it was already on decline beforehand. It was.
Oh, yes. I mean, we would go to the theaters if you actually put out a decent movie that we want to watch.
But I don't want to see anything.
Yeah, the last thing we saw in theaters was No Way Home, and before that, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Before that, Sonic.
Notice a trend.
Only good movies that we actually wanted to see.
I'm not going to go out there and pay money for a movie like the Indiana Jones 5 or whatever just because these people say so. I think that they are so lost within their own insanity at this point that it's almost impossible that they will ever come out of it. There have been a couple exceptions, but for the most part, Hollywood is going to have to basically burn to the ground in order to be built back up. And hopefully when we do build it back up, and it does happen because it will, we can build it up with people who actually have brains and don't just behave like robots.
and who know what the hell they're doing.
Diversity, inclusion, inclusion, inclusion.
Zap.
No thanks. Get short-circuited.
And next, we have The Marvels.
A new rumor suggests that the upcoming film, The Marvels, will see Carol Danvers married to an alien prince whose planet communicates strictly through song.
Huh?
I don't know what to say here.
Neither do I. It just sounds so stupid. I don't know whether to laugh or facepalm.
Now, people like to throw around the fact that people don't like Captain Marvel, and that's fair. And people don't like Brie Larson as well, which is fine. However, I will admit that the movie did make money. Now, I think it was a strategic placement, and most people say the same thing, but people like to throw around this character all the time as this strong female that no men likes because they're threatened by whatever. That's not at all the case.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that this was supposed to be Captain Marvel 2 and now it's not, and they're bringing a bunch of Marvels into it, and now that this might be true, if you have musical numbers in this movie, you thought Eternals did bad.
Ooh, this one will be even worse.
If you have Public Enemy number 1, for lack of a better term, in the movie, and other characters that nobody really cares about, and then you have singing and alien princes, and nobody's going to see this movie.
Yeah, it's not Glee.
It will make money. Make no mistake. I guarantee it will make money because they will figure out a way to make it make money.
But if I want to go see a musical, I'll go see a musical. I'm not going to go to a movie that has random songs in it if it's not marketed as a musical. But just why? And why is she married? I thought she's supposed to be a strong female woman who doesn't need no man.
But you see, if it can push a message, then that's fine. Now, I will apologize to the late Michael Jackson for including his Captain EO in this image, because, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of him either, but, like, I'm more of a fan of him than Captain Marvel, so...
I didn't even know that Michael Jackson was in a movie.
I did.
I did not. Somebody please tell me the name of this movie so I can put it on our never-ending list.
It's Captain EO.
Okay, it is now on our never-ending list.
I believe, actually, for a time in Disneyland, they did, like, a live showing of it kind of thing. I don't know.
Cool.
I believe I got to see it there. But
cool.
It wasn't that great. It was a musical.
Still cool.
But
probably gonna be better than this musical.
Well, let's be fair. Anything will be better than this, because the fact that it has Captain Marvel in it already makes it something that most people are not going to go out and see.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who scream and shout on Twitter, spoiler alert, don't actually go see the movies. And if they do, they see it once, and then they never see it again.
I mean, I did like Captain Marvel for the most part when I first saw it, but I also hated what they did to Fury. Everyone hated what they did to Fury.
I didn't hate the movie, but I didn't like the movie either. It was just nothing. It was not a great movie, and the character of Captain Marvel just didn't appeal to me. And the fact that people go out there and try to bash you over the head with her is just so annoying. And it's like, look, it's okay if we do not like things. It does not mean that your fragile little worldview needs to be destroyed. If you don't like it, you don't have to acknowledge us. You can walk away, but these people can't walk away.
Yeah, I mean, no one's forcing you to come out of your bubble. Are they?
I don't know. I think that they live in a freaking fantasy world and someone has to make them come out to reality, but that's just my point.
You're not wrong.
But yeah, this movie might do okay, but I don't see it becoming a thing where anybody's really going to enjoy it or go see it multiple times. If anything, people will be watching it to make reaction videos on it and to monetize that, and those will probably make more money than the actual movie will.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on. And next we have Patty Jenkins.
Jenkins wasn't interested in changing her pitch for the film, and that Warner Bros. Film Group co-chairs and CEOs Michael DeLuca and Pamela Adby didn't understand her, didn't understand the character, didn't understand character arcs, and didn't understand what Jenkins was trying to do. Jenkins reportedly sent DeLuca an email that included a link to the Wikipedia page for character arc.
Wow.
Rather than the film being unceremoniously canceled, instead it was reported that the director and co-writer Patty Jenkins walked out on the project after clashing with the studio. This is referring to Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman 3 specifically.
Basically, she threw a little tantrum that she didn't get her way, and she showed her script, and they were like, no, this does not fit with our vision. We don't want this. We're not doing it. And instead of saying, okay, I'll rework it, she said, no, I don't want you to. You don't understand. And then linked to a character arc. It basically made it seem like, oh, I know what I'm doing, and you're all just weirdos and don't understand my vision.
I mean, the first Wonder Woman was a really good movie, but that was when she wasn't a writer on said movie.
The second one was really bad. Now, here's the thing. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
If you are employed by somebody, and they tell you, we do not like this, please redo it, do you, A, tell them that they don't understand you, link them to articles in Wikipedia, and then get mad and storm out with a hissy fit? Or do you, B, suck it up?
B. Every time, B.
These people are what's wrong with Hollywood and society. These people get whatever they want. They get given things just because of their sexuality, gender, whatever you want to call it. And because of that, these people feel entitled to do whatever it is they want. Some of these people are actually decent and probably would create decent scripts and decent movies and TV shows if they were given structure. These people are not given structure because people are afraid of offending them or doing something that would be deemed incorrect and being canceled. And so these people get free reign, and when they get free reign, they create free crap.
Don't assault crap.
No, that's what it is.
I mean, if they want structure, they can always go to an insane asylum.
These people won't. And she's like storming out, like, I'll go to my next movie. It's like, you do realize that you are throwing away a franchise because you don't like the fact that your boss is telling you that your script is garbage.
Yeah, and what other movie? I thought Rogue Squadron was on the shelf forever.
Yes, and apparently it has come out that Patty Jenkins also apparently revealed her script for Rogue Squadron, and it was so bad, and that's why they actually shelved it.
Wow. Disney Star Wars actually shelved a bad script.
Patty? Hey, you're 0 for 2. Because, let's be fair, you're 0 for 2. Actually, you're 0 for 3. Because Wonder Woman 2 was terrible as well. So, you're 0 for 3. Your movies that you have made have sucked and have not hit with the audiences. The ones that you haven't made seems to be for a reason. Maybe it's not everybody else, it's you.
Maybe you're just a horrible writer and should just stick with directing.
And again, if you would like to take the time and learn and listen to other people and feedback, you would create films people would love. But instead, you just don't care because you feel you're entitled and you can do whatever it is you want just because you are who you are, and that everybody should worship the ground you walk on. Spoiler alert. Nobody wants to worship the ground you walk on. Many people don't know who you are, and maybe if you kept your mouth shut more, you would get more roles and more writing credits than you probably actually do now.
You're not wrong, but you can't do that because it would insult her pride. Whatever pride she has that can pass for pride.
It doesn't matter. I just think the fact that we are getting these like little spoiled tantrums from people in Hollywood lately is just ridiculous and funny because it creates great content for us, but also it just shows how hypocritical they are and how ridiculous they is. Imagine if this was a white guy who left the set for this. It would be front page news everywhere. This is barely mentioned.
Yeah. Let's move on. And lastly, speaking of Warner Brothers, we have James Gunn.
On Wednesday, The Hollywood Reporter ran a story about the future of DC Studios under James Gunn and Peter Safran, which left the impression that the two newly appointed co-heads were going to shunt what little currently remains of the Snyderverse into the Phantom Zone.
Good.
Now, James Gunn posted basically to clarify. He said, so as for the story yesterday in The Hollywood Reporter, some of it is true, some of it is half true, and some of it's not true. And some of it we haven't decided yet whether it is true or not.
That's completely fair.
Yeah, but you could have said that in a much more concise way. Although this first one at DC has been fruitful, building the next 10 years of story takes time and we're still just beginning. Fair. Peter and I chose to helm at DC Studios knowing we were coming into a fractious environment both in the story being told and in the audience itself, and there would be an unavoidable transitional period as we moved into telling a cohesive story across film, TV, animation, and gaming. But in the end, the drawbacks of that transitional period were dwarfed by the creative possibilities and the opportunity to build upon what has worked in DC so far and to help rectify what has not. Basically meaning, what hasn't worked, get out of here. As for more answers about the future of the DCU, I will sadly have to ask you to wait. We are giving these characters and the stories the time and attention they deserve, and we ourselves still have a lot more questions to ask and answer.
It's a very reasonable statement. I just hope that they keep the actors that they already had, because they are very good actors who are very good for their roles. Though I do hope it's true that Jason Momoa is playing Lobo. That looks like an amazing role for him.
Now, I'll be fair, I've always been more of a Marvel fan rather than a DC fan. So to me, I don't really care so much. I haven't seen a lot of the DC movies. But I know that a lot of people do like them, and that's really fine. And I do think that hopefully James Gunn will actually do something good with these characters, because I think that he recognizes just how much people care. But this is not necessarily about whether or not he wants to appease the audience. People have to remember, this is also a monetary issue.
Yeah, because a lot of what has happened with DC so far has lost money more than it's made.
Yes, so much so that they can only release like 2 movies. They don't have the budget for this kind of stuff. So I like the ideas that he's coming out with, and I understand why some people are concerned because of, they don't want to lose this actor or that actor, but he's been cutting a lot of the dead weight, and he doesn't take crap from anybody. And I'm hoping that he will deliver a product that'll be worth my watching, because as I said, more of a Marvel fan. But if he produces something that I think is good, the highest praise I can give him is I will go watch it.
Mm-hmm. That is high praise from Master.
Yeah, but keep in mind, he may not have... I know him saying this probably didn't make it any better, but keep in mind, he doesn't really have much else to do here. He is literally trying to help this thing stop hemorrhaging money.
Yeah, and then literally rebuilding it from what's left of the ruins. Though, as I said before, I do hope Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot get to stay. I know they've already brought back Henry Cavill for Superman, but what?
They're saying that's not a guarantee anymore.
Man of Steel 2, they said, isn't happening anymore.
They said they aren't even sure they're bringing it back anymore. That's why people are upset.
Ah, gotcha.
So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, but no, my hope is that they keep the actors, because the actors are really good in the roles. The writing was just horrible.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Again, this will be an ongoing story, so we'll report more on it as we know more.
Yes, we shall. Moving on. And with that being our last client of the day, it's time for us to reveal the diagnosis of the week.
And we have an interesting diagnosis for you today.
Do tell.
So the diagnosis for this week is entitlement mentality.
Please explain.
So it sounds like it is. Entitlement mentality is defined as a sense of deservingness or being owed a favor when little or nothing has been done to deserve the special treatment. These people basically think the rules don't apply to them, they can do whatever they want, they'll belittle others if they don't get their way, they're self-absorbed, they don't like being told no, they have an exaggerated sense of self-worth. Patty Jenkins, Jennifer Lawrence, all these people right now in Hollywood who believe that they are the authority, they know better, they know best. Even when everything else will tell them otherwise, they will literally turn cheek and not notice it because they are so stuck in their own ways. They are so entitled, and as I said, this entitlement makes people afraid to do anything to them. So these people live this life where they feel they're entitled to do whatever, and nobody can stand against them. Until that changes, we're going to have more and more of the same. But that's why I feel that this is a great diagnosis for this week, because it fits exactly some of these hoity-toity people in Hollywood who think that they're above everybody else and look down on us all. So that's why I feel it's a great diagnosis for this week.
I agree.
And now we move on to the remedy of the week, and since we also have some news around this, we decided that we'd just go for this as our remedy of the week.
The Epic Verse. Because we are members now.
Yes, that is one of the reasons we did not put out stuff last week. We are actually now members of the Epicverse and Epicverse Studios. It's an upcoming movie studio run by Josiah Rises of Geeks and Gamers.
Basically, a new indie film studio that's aiming to take back entertainment without any woke agendas and just telling good stories. And we are so glad he asked us to be part of it.
Yeah, we are very glad, and if he's watching, thank you for trusting us enough to be a part of this. We're looking forward to being a part of the team and helping bring some great stories to you guys in the future. So if you have not yet already, you can see there's a link there. There will also be a link in the description. You should go check it out because it won't just be for the sake of being there and supporting such a great venture, but also it'll be inadvertently supporting us as well because we're a part of it now.
Yes, we are. So head on over there, grab your popcorn, and let them know that Gothic Therapy referred you.
Indeed. But that is all we have for today. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and also make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe with notifications on so you do not miss your weekly therapy session.
Or you will be charged. But remember, when you do subscribe, your first session is free, so smash those buttons like they're bad kitties. And do consider joining us at the dusk, midnight, or dawn level. We would appreciate it quite a lot. You can also find links to all of our socials in the description below, as well as links to our merch store and our Discord server known as The Clinic. Be sure to check them out.
We have just, as of today, this morning, broken 1.9k subscribers, which is great. Thank you all for the support. We are still aiming to get to 2k subscribers by the end of this year, and we are only 100 off. If you have not already, share the video, like the video, tell your friends, tell your dog, tell your dog's friends. Who knows?
Why the dog?
I don't know. Maybe they have a YouTube channel. Crazier things have happened.
I mean, there was a Disney Channel show about that.
We're not going into that. Anyways, that's all we have for today, and we will see you guys in the next one.
Gothic Therapy, out.